Okay, hopefully I'm coming out live. I'm just going to give it a second for the good old internet to kick in. Let's just make sure it's coming out live. Here we go. I think it's all good. So let me just check. Yeah, I think I'm all good. I think we're working. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, good evening all. Hopefully people will join me. I'm just going to give it a second just to have people join. I have hay fever, so I've got a terrible cough at the moment. Jimbo, don't chew that. Can we get that? Quick, bring that here. Let me just take that off the dog because he's going to make a lot of noise, I expect, in the background whilst I am on the live. So I'm going to just give it a second whilst people join, hopefully. There we go. Okie dokie, excellent. People are joining. Cool, cool, cool. So whilst I fend off the noisy chewing thing the dog's chewing, can you settle in your bed? Jimmy, get the bone instead. Have that one. There we go. Okie dokie. We'll hopefully have more people joining. Excellent. People are joining. So I'm going to give it a second before I start talking. Hopefully people will join this evening so I can talk about the day one of the 7 days of dog sports challenges, which I'm going to be running all this week. And hopefully just simply it's just to motivate people and give people ideas about their training and things that you can do irrespective of the sport you partake in, whether it's obedience, agility, IGP, Mondio ring, working trials, fly ball, heel work to music, dock diving, any sport that you do, the games and the exercises that I'm covering this week are going to massively help your training. And mind you, I'm not the wire over. Good boy. Settle. And it will make a massive difference to your dog's understanding, clarity, and also their reliability, which is really what we're concerned about when we do dog sports. So if you are joining, let me know what dog sport that you partake in whilst people join, and I'm going to go over and break down what the hell Simon Says is all about. So whilst people are joining, let me know what dog sport you partake in while I have a slurp of coffee. So hopefully, if you're just joining me, you would have seen the reel that I put out this morning, which was a game called Simon Says. Obedience, excellent. So obedience, fanatic, good. Settle. Any other sports, any other dog sports that we've got on with us tonight, with the people watching, let me know. So I put a reel out this morning with a game called Simon Says. Simon Says is one of the foundation games that I teach to all my dogs, and it's one of those, excellent, fly ball, heel work to music, obedience, excellent. We've got a load of people here. So it's one of the games that a lot of my students, it's a bit my Marmite. They either love it or they hate it. And it really is about creating a better level of understanding with our dogs. So the reel I put out had 3 challenges. The first challenge was, level 1 was, can you put your body position either head, shoulders, knees and toes, and ask your dog to do one simple cue, sit, and the dog respond. Second level, are you alright, mate? Oh, good boy, you alright? In the wrong way? Good boy. Second level was, can you do it with can you do the same thing, any different body position, and can your dog do any verbal cues, sit, stand or down, or no matter what your body posture was doing. And the third level, which was the more challenging level, was can you do it with motion. And the reason why I play Simon Says is because there's several reasons, but there's a couple of really major ones that you want to consider. First thing is, and I wonder if anybody's picked up, what is the purpose of Simon Says? If you've got any thoughts on it before I actually give that away, let me know. So hopefully you had fun when you played it. Rally and obedience. We've got working trials. We've got more working trials, agility people. Super excellent. So give me, if anybody knows what the idea of Simon Says was, what it was evaluating, what it teaches us, and what it trusts. Yep, definitely does that. What it really highlights from a dog training point of view. Let me know if you figured it out. Okay. First off, if you have done the challenge, post on your timeline or your wall the video of you playing the game with the hashtag 7-day dog sport challenge, and you can be in the running to get a place on one of my VIP groups, or my VIP groups and one of my online courses, either Obedience Fanatics, which covers all the foundation skills and also all the exercises needed for any dog sport: retrieve, send away, scent discrimination, distance control, etc. Or you can join the Heel Work Masterclass. It's up to you. You can choose if you win the place. Just share your video showing which challenge you're doing with the hashtag 7-day dog sport challenge, and when I search for it, I can randomly pick up a video, and I'll use Google the Google selector to pick the winner, and you will be added to one of the groups. So checking dog doesn't mind body language, absolutely. Checking if the dog to see if the dog actually understands the words, so it's not pattern trained, absolutely. Motivation that shows the dog real, absolutely. Everybody's getting it. So you've snuck off with that chew again. So that it's a really noisy plastic thing that I like to chew. But hey ho, I'll take it off in a second. I'll see how we get on. Yes, you're absolutely right. Simon Says is all about evaluating your dog's understanding of a verbal cue for sit, stand and down, the most basic positions that we can teach our dogs. So irrespective of whether you are a dog sport competitor or you are somebody that does that has a behavioral challenge, whether it's reactivity, whether it's dog aggression, whether it's people aggression, having those 3 simple cues trained really thoroughly and well can absolutely make a major difference with your dog. So sit, stand and down, obviously in obedience, in agility, in working trials, in IGP, you need those 3 cues. Even in agility, you need them. Even in nose work, you need those behaviors. So having them trained on a verbal cue is really critical. It might be contextual depending on the sport that you do, but the dog having a good understanding of verbal cues is something that we want to look at across the board with our dogs. So first off, it evaluates to how well our dog understands a verbal cue. Secondly, it also evaluates where our dog understands of our body language and what our body language has previously taught our dogs. So what most of you probably experienced was when you, are you okay? Good boy. When you put your body or your hand position lower to the ground, you may have had some failure, okay? And I'm going to talk about how you deal with that shortly, but you may have had some mistakes where your dog, when you were doing the sit, the dog went to the down, and when you did the stand, same thing. And the reason being is because a lot of people use a lure or use their body language to create those pictures. They put their hand to the ground for the dog going to the down position, or the hands up higher to induce the dog to go into a sit. What that is a cue hierarchy. It means that the dog is going to pick up on the cue that they've learned first, and what they learn first, they learn best. And it's a real conscious effort on the part of the trainer to teach your dog to respond to a verbal cue. So as a trainer, we want to evaluate, does our dog really understand the verbal cue, or is there a subtle body language that we are, or is there subtle body language that we are doing or giving off in order to create the dog doing the behavior? I'm mindful you're going to knock this mic wire off, Jimbo. Let me just put this over there. So we want to make sure, wires and cables, we want to make sure that our dogs understand our verbal cues. So irrespective of the sport that you partake in, there is going to be moments where you want to be able to use a verbal cue and trust that your dog knows it well enough that it will do it irrespective of the conflicting body language or environment or distraction or arousal that is presented in that situation. So it's really important as an evaluation, we look at how well does our dog understand the verbal cue. Simon Says is a great game to be able to do that, because it shows us what our dog currently knows, and it allows us to create what we would like them to know, or a better level of understanding. So initially we looked at the dog doing the sit behavior, and the reason being is that's something that most people have taught from a very early age, and they probably have stacks of reinforcement for the dog doing that behavior. Now what has probably happened is you have stacks of reinforcement for doing the behavior when you've primarily been upright, and thus when you lowered your body language down to the ground, the behavior started to break down. So the obvious question is, well, how do I fix that issue? First off is to say, it is all about creating understanding. Your dog is not failing. All it's doing is giving you feedback about what it currently knows. And that process of identifying what your dog currently knows and what you would like it to know is what I would call the success protocol. It's a process that you can go through irrespective of whether it's distance, whether it's duration, whether it's position, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. You can go through a process systematically to help your dog understand what it is that you want. So if we use our body language as a metaphor to work through this, we've now figured out what our dog currently knows. So you put your hands on your head and your dog was successful. You put your hands on your shoulders and your dog was successful. You put your hands on your hips and most dogs were probably successful. It's when you got lower than that that you may have got some breakdown. So for example, you put your hands on your knees and your dog broke down. Now, first time the dog does this, we have several options. We can try again. We can simply try again. We can say to the dog, never mind, make light of it, and that's another massive entity that we can teach our dog via the medium of Simon Says. We don't want our dog to be concerned or worried when they fail. We want them to be almost as if they want another attempt to get it right. So when my dogs first, I play this game, when they have an error, I always make light of it. So I would snatch the toy away from them, make light of it, ha ha, I beat you, I won, and almost get the dog a little bit excited about the opportunity to try again. So I'm creating within the dog a level of resilience to failure or errors, okay? And that's going to help them later down the line. So first dog time the dog makes a mistake, I just simply try again. Second time the dog makes a mistake, I'm going to use that as a feedback because I don't want to repeatedly have them fail too many times, okay? So the dog fails twice, again, just feedback. I'm not going to immediately help them or change anything. I'm going to make light of them again. Third time, and I would always advise people to allow the dog... No, we're not having that. Come here. 1 second. Nope. I would always allow the dog probably the maximum of 3 failures before I contemplated changing anything to make it easier. Now, if the dog persisted and failed any more than that, there's a possibility that it might lose its confidence, and the dog may, if it's a sensitive dog, the dog may start to worry and be concerned. If it's a high drive dog, it might get frustrated and over aroused. So we want to be playing around with that benchmark between failure and success. So my dog has made 3 errors. I'm now going to make a decision about how I can help the dog get a better level of understanding. So if my dog could do it when my hands were on my hips, and I lowered my hands to my knees and my dog failed, I can make it a little bit easier by going to a halfway point. If my dog is successful, I can absolutely go mad, break the dog off, go bananas, free the dog, thrust the dog, play with the dog, etc. And then either stop my session or I could do a really super easy repetition, reward the dog, and then end my session. So that strategic way of working through a failure can help guide you irrespective of what it is that you're training, okay? So remember those 3 failures, make a slight adjustment, dog gets it right, reward the dog, recap at an easier level if you want to, and sometimes you can gamble when you do that. But ideally, the dog should be so easy, the dog can't go wrong. Reward the dog, end your session, okay? So, now, alternatively, if you then go to your easier step, so for example, I put my hands on my knees, my dog fails, and my dog was previously successful on my hips. I go to my thighs, and my dog fails repeatedly. Now what I can do is go back to my hands on my hips because that's where my dog was previously successful, but this time I'm not going to reward the dog. I'm just going to remind the dog. I'm going to break the dog off and fuss the dog and praise it, but I'm not going to actually click the dog and say to them that was perfect. I'm going to see if I can move my hand a fraction lower down. I can split that down into smaller pieces and slice it down, and slice it down I should say, and then hopefully the dog is successful and end my session. If the dog totally loses confidence, that tells me there's more foundation steps to go over, and it means doing more of the easier sequences. Or you could just lean your body over but keep your hands higher up. You could put your hands on your knees, for example, but keep your frame a bit more upright. So there's loads of ways you can adapt the picture so the dog is successful and you make it easier for the dog. So you can apply that principle irrespective of what it is that you're training. You're identifying the gap between what the dog can currently do and what you'd like it to do, and the bit in the middle is the bit that we're figuring out. How can we grow our dog's understanding? Okay, so those of you that had failure with whether you changed the positions or you added motion, think about what you currently have, think about what you would like, and there is the information in between. So when we're talking about movement, okay, we can again break that down into smaller pieces. We can march on the spot and see if our dog can do a behavior, sit, stand, or down. We can walk and continue walking really slowly and see if my dog can do a sit, stand or down. We can start to jog on the spot or move our arms a little bit as if we're jogging on the spot and assess if our dog can do that behavior. So we can make it easier and easier and easier and scale it back until our dog is successful and we're able to reinforce them. Okay, so hopefully that's made sense to everybody. That principle, what I call the success protocol, can be applied to anything that you want to train. Distance, so when you've worked out what the distance your dog can move, for example, on a send away or a go out or a look back, or blind, I should say. What you can do is deduce, okay, my dog can do 25 foot, but it can't do 40 foot. So now I'm going to try it. I'm going to try 30 foot. Can my dog do it there? Brilliant. If the dog can, I might move on a little bit more. And it's just a case of being systematic in your progressions and how you work through creating a better level of understanding. That's ideally what we're aiming for. We're aiming to have a dog that is so well trained and has so much clarity and understanding, it will do it almost despite the environment, despite the distraction, despite our nerves, despite and you could fill in the blank. All right. So has anybody got any questions about Simon Says that are watching this evening? Any questions at all? Let's have a quick look. Let's see if anybody's got any questions on Simon Says. So if those of you are watching, if you have a question, feel free to ask. Or if you have a hypothetical scenario or a real scenario where you are currently struggling with a behavior challenge and you want some guidance or a dog sports challenge, I should say, and you would like some guidance, feel free to post that in the comment if you have a question related to your dog does, and you can fill in the blank, because we can apply the success protocol in working out how you can fix your own problems, and that's essentially what we're aiming to do. Could you use this when you are training dogs to react to body signs? Yes, absolutely. So body signals, yes, definitely. Obviously you need to be really clear about what your signal is. So for example, I have signals for certain behaviors. For a redirect and a send away, I have a hand direction. On a distance control, I have a leg signal. So you absolutely can use this principle. But obviously, when you're mixing up your body language, you want to bear that in mind. So for example, if my signal for my dog was to, my hand is, I'd lean and point, I wouldn't then use that cue and say for the dog to run the opposite way, because that is part of the picture and that is the cue. So you just need to make sure you understand and you decide what the cue is, and then you can play this game around it. What I could do is I could move my hand and say a random word and ask the dog to listen for the verbal cue that is paired with that signal, and the dog responds. Alternatively, I might not have a verbal cue, it might solely be a signal, in which case you might proof the behaviour with distractions as opposed to changing the cue. So I might have a toy out to my, I'm just trying to think which way around it'll be, toy to the opposite side of me, and ask the dog to move away from the toy in the opposite direction. That would be a good way to challenge the dog. Okay? So just need to be clear where to post the videos. So with your videos, you can post them on your own wall. Just put the hashtag 7-day dog sport challenge in the comments when you post the video, and I'm able to then search that on Facebook, and you can put it on Instagram as well if you've got it on Instagram or YouTube, wherever you want. Just you can excuse me, you can post it wherever you want. I'll check all the various platforms. When on Sunday, so once everybody's put their whole 7 days of challenges, and I will pick somebody out that will win a place on the course, okay? On the courses. So Ali Joyce asked, my dog is easily overexcited by the opportunity to train and play. Very good. How should I approach this? So overexcitement is never a bad thing. We want our dogs to be enthusiastic. What we're really looking for is clarity. Are we being clear with what we ask our dogs? So often dogs that will be over aroused, one of the massive triggers is lack of clarity, because they don't have enough clear criteria. So I always urge all my students, anybody that's coached by me will know, I'm a massive advocate of videoing your training on a regular basis. You are going to gain so much. So another benefit of this 7-day challenge is it forces you, for want of a term, to video your training sessions. You are going to see within that video all that you need to do to train and make your dog better, and therefore hopefully gain the success that you have in competition. So watch your video, your training sessions, make sure you're being crystal clear with your criteria and your mechanical skills when it comes to reinforcement delivery, because that can often create arousal and frustration. Patricia said she will she will do it in the home environment but not when there's distraction, where she is reactive. Okay, so the first thing is I would play the game at home, but I'd add distractions to the home environment. So can you have food on the floor? Can you have toys on the floor? Can you have a best food on the floor, etc.? And can you ask her to do Simon Says with those things? Can you add motion in environments that you can control, and gradually take the dog out to environments that you can feel safe in, and play the same game. But when you do it in new environments, keep it simple at first and then gradually increase the complexity so that she's being successful. Hopefully that makes sense. Lorna Phillips asked, what is the best way to get your dog to go from the sit, I think that's sit or down, to the stand? So, that's a really good question. So depends on what type of position change that you want. Yeah, that's the question. So personally, from the sit to the stand, sit to the stand, I want a kick back stand. So that's where the dog's going to sit. So imagine that's the dog's top, and they flick their bum up in that position. With the dog to go from the down to the stand, I want it to do a slightly backing up position. So both of those, I actually use a plank platform to teach the skill of the dog kicking its legs back or popping back onto the platform. That's a really effective way. It's one of the I use platforms and perches and etc. now massively in my training, because they're just such an easy way to get behaviour really quickly. So have a look at that and have a play around with that. Okay, Julie asked, how to help your dog stay still without moving forward into the stand from either a sit or down, and how to create distance from handler. So distance is a byproduct of really great understanding of the basic position and having duration. So duration, I'm actually going to talk about later in the week, because the next challenge really does talk about duration. So I'm going to pick that up in greater detail tomorrow. But really, the distance is really easy to get when your dog has a really thorough understanding of the basic position, and they have a really they're confident. That's another thing. So they have a good understanding of the verbal cue, they're confident, and the dog is comfortable in the environment that they're in. So those three things are going to help you. And also introducing duration as a concept. And I'm going to come on to that. I'm going to hold off answering that one in detail, Julie, because I'm going to cover that in greater detail based on the challenge that we do tomorrow. Can do, but nowhere near as fast as snappy and stand is iffy. So, sorry, Gloria, I don't think this is part one to that question. So, when you want to increase speed, a couple of things that you can try is look at the motivation the dog has, look at the arousal level the dog is in, look at and what you're reinforcing. So big thing, way to increase speed is to put the behavior in a variable schedule of reinforcement and only reinforce the faster responses, or jackpot the faster responses. That's a really good way to create speed. But hopefully that gives you some guidance there. Anybody else got any questions about anything that they've found out through Simon Says? Any takeaways? Hopefully, just give it a couple of seconds. Give it a moment. Okay, I'm not sure there's any more questions. So, Simon Says, great foundation skill and game to play with your dog. It evaluates your dog's understanding of verbal cue. It makes you aware of your body language, whether you're inadvertently using body language to create behaviour. It also allows you a system to work through strategically, from moving from what your dog can currently do to growing its understanding. And that principle, what I qualify as the success protocol, can be applied to anything that you train, irrespective of whether it's distance, duration, the number of repetitions, and so forth. You can grow the dog's understanding to where they can do it almost despite you, and that's ultimately what we are looking for in competition. Oh, great one, yeah, Jackie. So yeah, definitely. I think I tried this a little while ago. My biggest takeaway, I think, was how much I move about without realizing. Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people do. So being clear about your marker words and your release words, another massive, massive part of Simon Says, making sure that I understand when to start the behavior and when to stop the behavior. Okie dokie. Alright, I think that's it. So really quick live from me, just talking about Simon Says and the benefits of having that skill at your, or being able to evaluate your skills and therefore your dog's understanding. All of us that partake in dog sports want a consistent, reliable dog, and that comes from having them so well trained they will do it almost despite us. Hopefully it's been helpful. It's great to see people interacting with the challenges and posting their comments about what they've been doing, and it's just to simply motivate people to want to train their dogs. We can all have ebbs and flows when it comes to motivation, certainly for those of us that partake in dog sports, and certainly for the amount of time that I've been doing it. Your motivation can sometimes go in peaks and troughs. The way in which you rejuvenate that motivation is go back to basics, get back to just having fun with your dogs. I know that the people that posted their videos online and tagged the 7 days dog sports challenge, it really looked like you were having fun with your dogs, and that really is what it's about. When you video your training session, what I always urge my students to do is every now and again watch your video session back without any sound on and see what your dog is feeling and what you are feeling. If you're not enjoying it and not having fun, why are you doing it? So use that as your gauge when you train your dog. Are you having fun? Alright all, thank you very much for that quick live. Tomorrow I'm going to be live at 7 p.m. BST, 7 p.m. Tomorrow live again, talking about tomorrow's challenges, which I will be posting, I should say, tomorrow morning. Again, tag me in it, 7-day dog sport challenge if you want to win a free space on either my heel work masterclass or Obedience Fanatics online groups. Online courses with access to VIP support, which is where you can be part of my inner group of dog sports enthusiasts, Obedience Fanatics, the online group, where people can post videos for feedback, get coaching about what they're doing with their training, be privy to additional content and webinars and online stuff that's not available anywhere else. It's just exclusively for that group, and also lots of new videos and contents that's due to come over the next 12 months. So if you're interested in becoming part of that group, all you have to do to be in a chance to win a place is 7-day dog sports challenge, all one word, hashtag 7-day dog sports challenge. Tag me in it, and then I will do a draw on Sunday for the person that's going to win that place. If you want to be part of the online group, obviously I'll share some links for that as well. I've had a lot of people interested about how they can get coaching, how they can improve their dog sport success. I'll share some information about that for you as well. But for now, enjoy your evening, whatever you're doing. Looking forward to tomorrow's challenge. It's a good one. Hopefully, I think tomorrow's going to be a good one for most people. I think most people are going to be able to do it really, really easily. There's some interesting twists on it. But I'm pretty confident we're going to get loads of people nailing tomorrow's challenge. But yeah, really super fun. Enjoy your evening, everybody. Whatever you're doing, be safe, enjoy your dogs, and have fun.